Either Mary or John, who would like to? All right, okay, so this is how we got here, what happened, what we could have done differently, and briefly, we'll have more time to delve into all these topics, where we go from here.
All right, thank you to Robert Craig, who's been such a strong good voice. Yeah, this is all I've thought about for the last, several days. And the problem of having something be all that you have thought about is that you have so many entry points to discuss it. It's like when your 7th grade girlfriend breaks up with you. No, I'm not kidding. There's a lot of thinking that goes into that. And so you get all, what did I do wrong? What did I, what didn't I say? I will answer Robert's question, but I will begin by saying Assalamu alaikum, Shalom, and my greetings to all of you. I am delighted to be an American who lives in a multicultural, multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and non-believing nation, which is wonderfully diverse and growing more diverse every single day. And that is my great delight. It gives me a pleasure and a joy. And I am also delighted to report to you that this multiracial, multi-ethnic, diverse nation voted in its popular vote for Hillary Clinton for President of the United States. The popular vote total today moved over 600,000, so she has now won the popular vote by a wider margin than anyone who has been denied the presidency in the history of the country. And that margin will grow dramatically as votes are counted in California and Washington and states across this country. We have archaic and dysfunctional voting systems in this country, and we have archaic and dysfunctional counting systems in this country. And so often we are told on the night of an election that someone has won a mandate, only to discover over time that the mandate is not there. Donald Trump did not win a mandate on November 8th. He lost the popular vote. In most countries, in other countries that elect presidents, he would not be preparing for an inauguration. Hillary Clinton would be preparing for an inauguration. This is a really big deal to take in, because it's important not merely for you to make you feel a little better, like you're not actually in a minority, although being in a minority is no problem. I've been in many of them politically. But it is also important for you as you look at your friends and neighbors and family members, because the fact of the matter is you are not surrounded by people who disagree with you. There are many, many people who agree with you. They are a plurality of the American population that voted, at least, and probably more dramatic because those who do not vote tend to be those who are often disenfranchised and younger and more disconnected from the political process. So the bottom line on all this is, don't start with the lie that says that somehow you've been rejected or your ideas have been rejected. If you do, you will disempower yourselves. Number one. Number two, I don't want you to dislike folks who voted for Donald Trump. No, I'm sorry. I do not. I know, you may want to. I don't want you to dislike them, because here's the bottom line. Many of them are your cousins. Many of them are your neighbors. Many of them are your workmates in a closely divided country. Despite the fact that Clinton won in the popular vote, we are a closely divided country. Our number one problem is that we don't talk to each other enough. And the fact of the matter is, an awful lot of us don't come out on a Sunday afternoon to be in a community with a lot of other people. A lot of us sit at home or in our car festering and getting angrier and feeling more disconnected and being fed lines of lies by politicians and media elites. And if we start to dislike those who do not vote the way we do, then we forget about the structures that damage our discourse in our politics itself. The reason Hillary Clinton's not going to become president on January 20th is because of an electoral college that was developed in slavery times to defend against popular democracy that might undermine the slave power. So don't think that structures don't matter. Once you start to understand that, you realize that if we start to hate our neighbors, then we give those who reinforce those powers more structure. So we have a mess. We got a mess of structure. We have voter ID laws and voter suppression that makes it harder to vote. We have a collapse of communications in this country, which we'll get into later. The fact of the matter is that as advertising dollars flow less and less to radio, television, and newspapers, they become more and more desirous of clicks and ratings and scandal and personalities rather than issues and ideas. Our media becomes dysfunctional. Our political structures are dysfunctional. And our political parties become dysfunctional. And I'll close, we'll talk a lot more, but I'll close off with this. Do you understand? The result of the presidential election would have been different at this point, if 54,000 votes had shifted. 54,000 votes. About 20,000, a little under, well, quite a bit less, like 15,000 in Wisconsin. A little bit more in Michigan, a little bit more in Pennsylvania. And I am furious with the elites in Washington and New York and other places that got so excited about flying at 30,000 feet that they didn't send the Democratic nominee for President of the United States to the battleground state of Wisconsin for the first time in modern times. Never has happened before. It's never happened before. I mean, I was trying to track it back. I want to be clear and I'm still working on this, but I think the last time we didn't get the Democratic nominee between the time of the convention and the election was Grover Cleveland in 1892. I'm not kidding. I know William Jennings Bryan came through. And so the fact of the matter is there are unimaginable errors made, political errors made. And I believe that if the money that was spent on the Victory Party in New York had instead been put into rural radio ads in Wisconsin, and if the Democrats had actually maybe said, you know, I like farmers, and I think small towns actually are of value, and I worry about the people who live in all parts of this great country, you know, I think you might have found those 18,000 votes in this state. And so these are all structural realities. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, Green, I don't care where you're coming from. But please, focus on the structures. They are what matter. And if there's anything that comes out of this moment, where do we go from here? Let us begin to organize with a passion for structural change, not simply to look for the next reality TV star who's going to run for the next office. Not even to look for some political party that's somehow going to solve all our problems. Eugene Victor Debs was right. He said, a longtime candidate for the President of the Socialist Party, man who came to this town every election from 1900 on. Eugene Victor Debs said to his loyal followers, if I could lead you into paradise, I wouldn't do it, because if I could lead you in, somebody else could lead you out. If Barack Obama could lead you in, Donald Trump could lead you out. And so understand this complexity. It's not about personalities, it's about structures. We're here tonight to talk about people who are trying to expand structures. Robert Craig doesn't want to take anybody off the radio. What he wants to do, as I understand it, is to put more people on the radio. Because we believe that an expanded discourse allows for a richer or more vibrant democracy. And we believe that works at the local, state, and national level. I'm delighted to be with you tonight. I couldn't think of people I'd rather be with. I'm telling you, my mother is out there in about the 10th row with all of her friends from out in Burlington. So I feel the warm embrace of my state. But I will tell you this, I was sitting out there in New York City, very far away, on election night. And I had my phone out, because we all live at the end of our arm now on our phone. And I'm going through there, checking around, and I find my Wisconsin results. And I have to tell you right off the bat, I thought Hillary Clinton was probably going to win this election. I wrote an article back in February where I said that she could lose, that Trump could win because of rural votes and industrial issues, and it's a very smart article. I just wish I had actually, held to what I'd written, thought surely that I was right. But I'm willing to question myself, and that's of course the great challenge. I thought Russ Feingold was going to prevail, and I don't deny that. I don't want you to let me sit here and make like I knew everything that was going to happen, because I sure didn't. But I tell you, I know on that night when I looked at my phone, I'm looking at those maps of the state. I love this state so much. Been to every corner of it so many times. I knew at about 8:30 Wisconsin time that it had all gone, because I looked at little town reports from counties around the state and stuff like that, and I knew it just wasn't going to happen. And that didn't make me love my state less. It made me know that we have to fight just a little bit harder next time. I'm so glad to be with the people that are ready to fight next time, to show solidarity with their friends and neighbors, and to not be beaten back by this, but to see it as the beginning of something dramatically better than we have ever had before.
Thank you, John. So I only have one disagreement, and McKinley, I think, had a front porch campaign.
Yeah, he never came.
So he probably didn't come.
No, but I said Democratic.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I stand corrected.
I think it was